The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
And welcome in, everybody, to week 2 of Mock Draft Mondays. We have officially just wrapped up the NFL Combine. The big boys just finished their field drills and bench press and everything like that today. So we are getting ready to work on Mock Draft Monday after some of the ridiculous combine performance we've seen from the receivers, some of the quarterbacks, the linemen, the defensive linemen, the corners. A lot of people made themselves a lot of money. Some of them might have slipped a little bit as well. And plenty of them didn't participate as well. So we're going to go and get right into it. We're going to start the draft off at pick number 1 and with the Chicago Bears. No surprise yet, Justin Fields is still on the team, but we're still under the anticipation that I think a trade is going to be coming soon. So we're going to send Caleb Williams to the Chicago Bears. No surprise, that one's probably one that might not change a lot for a while, depending on if things go as we expect. Number 2, Washington, we're going to go with Drake May. Last week we went Jaden Daniels. I think he's climbed up a lot of draft boards, understandably so. He's fantastic. I think of all the quarterbacks, he might be the one most ready next year to win you a game. He'll be the one most ready to go with his skill set and his natural talents. But we're going to go with Drake May. I think the arm strength, the fact that he's only 22, I think there's a lot of development there. He was there through the whole combine process. I think that might have helped him getting to speak with the teams, be around the players, that sort of thing. Just being around the environment more, I think, might have helped his draft stock in what I think is an underratedly tight contest between him and Jaden Daniels for that number 2 spot. And at number 3, the New England Patriots. I'm basically treating this like they're not going to trade for Justin Fields, so they're going to be in the quarterback market. So we're going to go and give them Jaden Daniels. So same 3 guys going in the first 3. We're going to switch up 2 and 3 a little bit, but I think New England's going to be in the hunt for a quarterback one way or the other. Maybe they bring in a veteran. Maybe they do go for that Justin Fields trade. But for now, we're going to go with Jaden Daniels there for now. And there are no trades in this mock draft. We will start bringing in trades next week. Once I have Kelsey, who'll join me for one of those upcoming ones too, then we'll start integrating trades as we move forward. But for now, we're just going to stick and pick with everybody, which leaves us number 4, Arizona. If he's there, there's no doubt they're taking Marvin Harrison Jr. He's my top-rated player on the board. And I think despite not really doing anything in Indianapolis and missing the media appearance, not working out, none of that matters. He is one of the handful of prospects that he can't go really up any further unless he ran a 4.2. So at this point, he's locked in. Next, we're going to go to number 5, the Chargers, who this is going to be a very prime trade spot, I think. I think once we start doing trades, spoiler alert, we might see a little bit of movement here as well. But for now, since we're sticking and picking, I think Harbaugh wants to run the ball. We talked about it last week. Last week we took Olu Fashanu. Today, we're going to take Joe Alt, who I think had a really, really good combine. Big, strong, menacing, athletic tackle. Him and Rashawn Slater could be your bookend tackles with Justin Herbert, run off tackle, power. They can both move. They could both pull. You could do a lot with them in that run game with him and Greg Roman against these smaller, faster defenses built to combat the pass. I think Harbaugh is going to come in and run that Stanford offense that he ran when he was the head coach of Stanford with Andrew Luck and those guys as well. A lot of power row, a lot of multiple tight end sets at a lot of big boys. Next, we have the New York Giants, who this one's really, really close. I'm going to give them Rome Odunze. I think he had a really, really good combine. I think right now for me, he is receiver 2. He's so smooth for how big he is, running the routes, tracking the ball, catching it, good in and out of breaks. Neighbors is electric. I think it could change a lot. His pro day might even boost him a bit. But right now, as of March 4th, we're going to go with Odunze right now as the second receiver off the board at pick 6. The Titans at pick 7, they need a lot. We're going to have fun with this one, though. We're going to do something that we haven't really done before. We're going to give them Brock Bowers, actually. I know Malik Neighbors is right. You know what? I talked myself out of it. Never mind. We're giving him Malik Neighbors. I think if he's there, they know they need some weapons on the outside. Callahan's going to look at Will Levis. DeAndre Hopkins getting older. Treylon Burks hasn't been there. They need somebody to make plays, and I think Neighbors being there will help them make plays. I wanted to talk myself into Brock Bowers so much, but I couldn't quite do it. Not there. And they do have a Chico Okonkwo, I believe it is, who's a promising young tight end as well. So I tried to talk myself into it, but it's really hard with Malik Neighbors there. Next, we got the Atlanta Falcons, who I'm treating this one like they traded their second-round pick for Justin Fields. So I'm taking them off the quarterback market. I'm saying they solved their quarterback issue with Justin Fields or Kirk Cousins, perhaps at free agency. Point is they have their quarterback spot taken care of right now. And with those guys off the board, I think they're going to look at Dallas Turner, that outstanding performance from him as the edge rusher. I think him and Jared Verse really stood out with the athletic ability to match what they put on tape. And I think Atlanta's had a hard time kind of hitting on edge recently. Arnold Ebiketie pretty good. Like they've had some good edge players, just nobody that stands out as well. They need somebody like Lorenzo Carter. They think good players, but I think Dallas Turner gives them that little extra oomph that they could use as well. Next, the Chicago Bears picking at pick number 9. This one, I think they were really hoping one of those receivers would fall to them. But with the way the board went, I think they're going to also double down, and they're going to take Jared Verse. They got the captain of the offense, quote unquote, Caleb Williams. I think now they'll take Jared Verse to pair with Montez Sweat. Verse, who had a very, very Myles Garrett-esque, when you look at his combine numbers, they were very similar to Myles. Not saying he's the player or the prospect. Let's not get that twisted now. But measurables, he's right there. Put him opposite Montez Sweat and the way that defense performed. I like Jared Verse, give them some bookend defensive ends, and then fill out receiver and some of the other things as the draft goes along. Now at pick number 10, we got the New York Jets, who will have their options. I really like Olu Fashanu here. I'm going to go ahead and go with Olu Fashanu for them. They need Aaron Rodgers. They need that offensive line set around him. They need to build a wall in front of Aaron Rodgers and keep him upright and healthy. Now at pick number 11, we have the Minnesota Vikings. They could go a lot of different directions here. I'm going to treat this like they have the quarterback spot taken care of. I know I mentioned Kirk Cousins possibly to Atlanta, so I know that's kind of the big contingency here as well. Is do they have him or do they not? But since I'm going to treat it like they at least have a stopgap guy, that's where I think they're going to go with J.J. McCarthy. I think ideal spot for him here is if they could let him sit for the year or at least starting the year. And then maybe towards the end of the year moving forward, they can bring him in and let him cook there. I think he's one that can benefit a lot if he can sit. If he can sit, he will hit a maximum potential going forward. Next up, Denver Broncos. These, by the way, these teams are all right here in that position to possibly trade up to 5 and go quarterback chasing. But since we're not doing that here, we'll stick and pick. I loved what Bo Nix did at the combine. And the more I started looking into his tape and getting ready to work on my big boards, I really, really like Bo Nix. And I think a lot of scouts are going to start to like him. I think Sean Payton is going to like him a lot as well. He's a coach's son. He reads the field. He sees everything quickly. Does he check the ball down a fair amount? Yes, he does. But does he have the arm strength to make those seam throws? Yes, he absolutely does. He can break the pocket and make plays. But I think he's going to run the offense. And Sean Payton, like what he saw with Drew Brees, he wants somebody that's just going to run the offense. He doesn't want a true improviser like Russell Wilson. I think he will get a lot of that from Bo Nix, who can improvise, and I think is even better when he does get the chance. But he will run that offense. He will never be turned down a profit, basically. He will check that ball down. He will do whatever needs to keep him moving. So we're going to go with Bo Nix here. So we got 5 quarterbacks off in the first 12 picks. And I think this could be that kind of draft. That 5th-year option is very, very valuable. And the teams that need quarterbacks all are kind of in that area. And now we got the Las Vegas Raiders here at pick number 13. This is interesting. I'm going to go with corner for actually Talise never mind. I talked myself out. Talise Fuaga is still there, the right tackle. They already have Colt Miller at left tackle. I think Antonio Pierce is going to look at this and be like, the big boys are going to help us win and help them run the ball. Fuaga, mauler off the right side. Number 14, we got the New Orleans Saints. I think they're going to need to start looking at edge for sure. I think edge, and I like J.C. Latham, but I do like Latu here at the edge spot for them. They need to start. Cameron Jordan's getting older, and they have not been able to really fill that spot opposite him, so we're going to give him Latu. Now at corner, I want to give the Colts Brock Bowers. That would just be so much fun, and I think I did it last week as well. But it's really low on the needs. They think they really need a corner, and here they have their pick of the litter. Nate Wiggins fits Chris Ballard, the GM's prototypical corner, a tall guy that runs really fast, a pure RAS guy. Chris Ballard, if I had to bet money right now based on this board, that's who they would take. I look at Quinion Mitchell. He ran an incredible 42, had a good bench press. He looked really good. But I think this year, too, I think they might actually steer just a touch away from RAS. And Terran Arnold had a really good RAS, and I think he has arguably the best tape as well. So I'm going to take Terran Arnold. The top corner goes to the Colts, too. They just need someone healthy and who can match up against someone opposite of Juju Brents, who they took in the 2nd round last year. Next, we have the Seattle Seahawks at number 16. This is where they have a little fun. I think this is where Brock Bowers ends up going as well. I think Tyler Lockett's getting older. DK's still the guy. JSN started to ascend. I think they just bring in Brock Bowers. They committed to Geno Smith for a little bit for that 3-year deal. 1 year down. I think they'll commit 1 more year, stick around. I'm like, all right, we're going to give him every weapon in the book. If it fails, we'll try and plug and play a different quarterback, whether they draft someone next year or bring in a different free agent, and might as well give them every weapon in the book with Brock Bowers. And in this division, you need to have a variety of weapons. So Next, we got the Jaguars at pick number 17. Once again, I like Nate Wiggins going here as well. I think him, Terron Arnold, Quinion Mitchell, I think they all are going to go in these rough areas. Same with Cooper DeJean. They're all in this kind of wheelhouse area. I'm going to go with Nate Wiggins to Jacksonville here. Cincinnati, I think they could use the corner help as well. But with J.C. Latham or any of those other tackles still hanging around, I think they will grab them to play opposite Orlando Brown or to kick somebody at guard as well. Like they need to find a way to fortify that offensive line and make it click. And I think drafting in the teens here with a J.C. Latham will really help that out. A very physical specimen of an offensive lineman. Los Angeles Rams. I want to get Quinion Mitchell as the pick here, but knowing Sean McVay and how much he loves versatility and guys like that, like those underrated picks, I'm going to give them Cooper DeJean here as he could play outside corner, he could play nickel, he could play safety, someone they can move around all over the place, kind of like he likes to do with the receivers on offense. I think they'll grab somebody like that for defensively as well, Cooper DeJean. Pittsburgh now at pick number 20. Quinion Mitchell makes a lot of sense here. Same with Kool-Aid McKinstry, but I'm going to scroll down just a little bit. We're going to go with Jackson Powers-Johnson, the top-rated interior offensive lineman. They got a I don't know what they're going to do at quarterback, whether it's bringing in Russell Wilson, whether they're in the field sweepstakes, whether they try Mason Rudolph and Kenny Pickett again. They need to have that front fortified. You're in a division with Myles Garrett, Baltimore, who led the NFL in sacks, and you still got the Bengals with Trey Hendrickson. You got to protect whoever you have playing quarterback. So we're going to give him Jackson Powers-Johnson. I like the tackle from Georgia they took last year. His name eludes me off the top of my head. I think they continue to build on that. Next up, the Miami Dolphins at 21. It looks like they're going to cut Xavier Howard as a cap casualty and some other players. They got to make space. So I think that leaves an opening at corner. We're going to give them Quinion Mitchell here as well. Athletic, strong. Basically, nobody threw at him, so you didn't hear his name a lot because people were scared to test him. Outstanding corner to play opposite Jalen Ramsey. Speaking of corners and defensive backs, nobody needs them quite like Philadelphia. They really need to revitalize that secondary that got toasted down the stretch last year. We saw they let Kevin Byard go. James Bradbury, I believe, is out as well. Darius Slay is getting older. Kool-Aid McKinstry, perfect fit there. Next, we got the Houston Texans, and this is tough because I want to give them Brian Thomas so bad because him and C.J. Stroud would be something quite electric. But you have Nico Collins, who is that tall, fast-running receiver who can get down the field. You have Tank Dell for the intermediate stuff. And D'Amico Ryans being that defensive coach. Will Anderson was really strong down the stretch. You got the young corners, Derek Stingley. I'm going to go ahead and give them Jerzon Newton, excuse me. Just add a little bit more defensive line versatility. I think he is a stud. I like Byron Murphy here as well, too. I feel like Jerzon Newton might fit that defense just a touch better. He could play opposite Will Anderson as well. So we're going to go Jerzon Newton here just to improve that pass rush. Next, we got the Dallas Cowboys. Tyron Smith set to hit free agency. Doesn't look like he's coming back. Amarius Mims fits the profile here. Big, strong, mauling offensive lineman. Really good athletic specimen. Either they need offensive line help, and it's kind of been the Cowboys' MO at this point, is building that offensive line through the draft. And Amarius Mims fits the bill here. Next, we got Green Bay at pick number 25. Offensive line, corner. They have a handful of needs along that area. I am looking here. Let's see. We're going to stick with offensive line, but I'm going to go with Troy Fatanu, somebody that can kick inside the guard. He can move to tackle, just a little more versatility up and down the offensive line that they can play with that scheme as well. Matt LaFleur likes the offensive line. He can move a little, but he's going to maul people getting to that second level. Next, we got Tampa Bay, and Mike Evans looks like he's going to test the free agency market. Chris Godwin's getting older. Brian Thomas, if he's slipping this far, someone's going to trade up for him, but since we're sticking and picking, give me Brian Thomas going to the Tampa Baker Mayfields. Presumably, they re-signed him. And we have pick number 2 for the Arizona Cardinals in the first round. And Jonathan Gannon is going to be smitten if he gets to sit and pick Byron Murphy. That's going to slip all the way down to him here as well. You got Marvin Harrison. You got the best player of the draft, in my opinion. Now you get a very versatile defensive lineman in Byron Murphy that can rush from the inside. In certain situations, you could play him as like that D end in a 3-4 a la J.J. Watt style. Cameron Hayward can move him up and down the line a little bit. So we'll go Byron Murphy here for pick 27. Moving on now, pick number 28. Buffalo Bills, this is a fun pick as well. They need defense. They need a lot. But what is the most Bills thing they could do here with Gabe Davis possibly walking and Stephon Diggs? That situation always being interesting year to year. Let's go and grab another receiver for Josh Allen. And let's go with A.D. Mitchell, who had himself a hell of a combine. Plays as Daniel Jeremiah called him like a power forward. incredibly smooth in and out of breaks, gets down the field, running that 4.35. I thought he's a 4.42, somewhere like that would have been awesome. A 4.35. He can fly, get down the field, incredible ball skills. They're not going to pass up the opportunity to add A.T. Mitchell. Detroit on a fantastic season. They just need defense. And Ennis Rakestraw had an okay combine. He didn't really blow anything away, but I think he was pretty good. He's very much plays better than he's going to test, I believe. And Dan Campbell loves those type of guys. This is a Dan Campbell-ish feeling corner. So let's give them Ennis Rakestraw Jr. here. Fortify that secondary. They kind of got toasted on the back end as we saw down the stretch, and I think they'll look to lock that up a little bit. Next, we got Baltimore here, pick number 30. There's a lot of ways they could go here as well. I mean, they had the best record in the NFL. Receiving core is still a little open. I think Keon Coleman's a good fit there. Troy Franklin's a good fit. Corners, Kamari Laster. They do need a little bit of help in various different spots. I think this is also a prime spot for teams looking to get back into the first round to trade. But knowing how they like to operate, I'm going to go ahead and give them Tyler Guyton. I think Ronnie Stanley has been up and down, injured a lot recently. I think they're going to continue to load up on that offensive line to keep their main investment, Lamar Jackson, fully healthy. So we'll go Tyler Guyton here, which leaves the 49ers a little disappointing because I think that is the guy on their board is they are looking for offensive line specifically as well. And I think with the way the board falls, they're going to go with Graham Barton here, who slips as well. Interior offensive lineman out of Duke. I think they'll go here. They got to work on that offensive line. Then the Chiefs now at pick number 32. This is tough because I like Jordan Morgan, get the offensive line, continue to build there. I like receivers with Keon Coleman and Troy Franklin. The edge, Chop Robinson, I think with the combine he had played himself into a top first-round caliber pick. If not first round, he's going to go in that top 40. Once I start doing these 2-round mock drafts later in the process, he's definitely going to be someone that's going to be going. Corners, they could use a little corner help if L'Jarius Sneed gets traded. But for where we're sitting right now, we're going to go to receiver, and I'm going to actually shake out the mold here. We're going to go with Ladd McConkey, Mr. 4.39 himself out of Georgia. Shocked me, and I think someone who could get in and out of breaks like that, someone who could separate with Travis Kelce getting older but still at the tight end spot. You do have Rashee Rice, who's shown to be a really good yards after catch, get down the field type of guy. I think Ladd McConkey could be an incredible slot receiver that could play on the outside like a Z receiver. You can move around the field. So we're going to go ahead and add Ladd McConkey. I'm going to click in just a moment, but considering the box pops up, but I want to look at some of the guys that are still on the board. Keon Coleman, Troy Franklin, Xavier Worthy coming off that 4.2 140. He very easily could play himself into the first round. Honestly, next week he might be a top 20 pick. This one's kind of just off the cuff right after the combine. I'll take a little bit of time to look through that. He's also a unique prospect that I don't think his 40-yard dash it's going to end up being a defining characteristic, but it's not like when we remember John Ross ran. I was like, oh my God. And then I propelled him into a top 10 pick. He probably had no business being there. Xavier Worthy was already in that top 40-ish pick before he ran that. So I think he very well could propel himself into that area in those top 20s where we saw some of these other receivers go. And for Kansas City, though, we're going to go ahead and stick with Ladd McConkey. Plenty of other good players still on the board as well. So let us know down below what you think of the mock draft for this one, the first one right after the combine. I think a lot of players ascended. I think we're going to see a lot of movement. I will have Kelsey join me for a few of these as well, so you can get a little bit of back and forth, some different perspectives, see what we go with there as well. But let me know your picks down below, some of your favorite guys that might actually find themselves into the first round, and some other guys that might end up slipping out, but are going to be those outstanding early day 2 picks where someone's going to rush to the podium as soon as he's still staying there. But go ahead and comment down below. Let us know. Be sure to like and subscribe. It helps us a lot, and it's completely free, and you can unsubscribe at any time. We appreciate you all for joining us for this Mock Draft Monday, and we will see you all again next time.